Hey guys, Ted Bogert back with the TED Show. Super excited to have actually two returning alumni on the show because Sarah's been on and of course Rosene's been on. We're going to talk about find the great in every girl, Pace Center for Girls. Rosene Johnson and Sarah Geltz, welcome back to the show.
Thank you for having us.
I'm so excited. You know how much I love Pace. I loved Pace before I even knew Rosene because I used to work with Jill for fundraisers over there. So I'm a huge proponent of this, the amazing work that you all do. But before we take a deep dive and learn all about it and hear all the cool things and amazing things you're doing, Rosene, why don't you give us a little origin story on you and then introduce us to Sarah?
Absolutely. Well, again, thank you so much, Ted. So good to see you. It's just nice seeing everybody during this time. So this is really exciting, and thanks for having us on. My name is Rosene Johnson, and I am the Executive Director of Pace Center for Girls here in Orange County. I have actually been with Pace. It'll be 3 years in November. Boy, time flies when you're fun. I know. And just so grateful to be a part of an organization that really, truly is impacting the lives of girls and generations, honestly, to come. And we have such phenomenal leadership in our board and in our community. And so it is my honor to actually introduce our board chair, Miss Sarah Geltz.
Hi, Sarah. Thank you. I'm so glad to be back and see everybody. Rosene and I have had a lot of face-to-face time this week. So I'm entering my second year as board chair at Pace, my third year on the board. The organization is very near and dear to my heart. I think, the programming and what they do for the girls is, I got involved even before Rosene joined and in some capacity, because what they do really changes the lives of the girls that we serve and gives them opportunities that they would probably not have but for what the programs that we offer.
Fantastic. All right, so I'll start back with you, Sarah, a little bit, and then we'll shift to Rosene. Tell us a little bit about you. What do you do besides being the board chair?
So I am a partner at the Kendrick Law Group in Maitland and one of the owners of Champion Title and Closing. So we try to be a little bit everywhere all the time, sometimes a little bit too much, but we are a boutique law firm located in Maitland. My partner Jessica Kendrick and I, and we have 4 other attorneys that work with us, and then Champion Title and Closing with Shay and Andrea out as the face of us everywhere. We've been around for about 3 years, and we are just trying to be everywhere.
You all are everywhere. Yes. Everywhere.
I feel it
in a good way. People remember you from good things.
More often than not, I hear the good, and that's how we want it to be. We try to do the right thing all the time and be there for our clients and our customers and just kind of elevate the game.
I love it. All right. And how about you, Rosene? What did you do before the 3 years?
Oh my goodness. You're going to make me date myself because I'm really only like 18. I don't know how I ended up at this job here.
Ooh, no doubt.
No, I'm just teasing. In all honesty, I have had the opportunity to really work in every aspect of education. So starting with public school education as a teacher, then moving into administration. I have worked in university life. I have been in higher ed. I have also had the opportunity to work in private and charter schools. And that's where I most recently was prior to coming to Pace, working for a smaller private school for children with disabilities. And so I've always had a passion for working with marginalized groups and audiences. And I guess even back when I think about my own schooling, being in school, as a kid, I was always the girl or the kid that stood up to the kids that were being bullied or being made fun of, because I just didn't think that was fair that some kids had an experience and other kids didn't. And so I guess I'm still doing the same thing. I'm just older, helping more kids now.
All right. So I love that because I did the same thing. I think once you stick up for somebody who can't stick up for themselves, it's life-changing, and you just kind of make it a passion. I feel like all 3 of us have done that. Mm-hmm. So tell me about Pace. Explain what Pace is. Pace Center for Girls. Give us the basics, the 101 for anybody who's tuning in who has never heard of Pace before.
Okay, I will do my best to keep it brief because I could talk about this all day, right? Because
it's your show. You talk about all you want
about what we do. But really, in all honesty, PACE is a place for young ladies that are really looking to make some positive changes in their life. A lot of times, I think when people have traditionally or previously heard of PACE, they think of this as a place of, for bad girls. And what I like to tell people is that PACE is not a place for bad girls. PACE is a place for young ladies that have had bad things happen to them. And we become that safe, nurturing place that I think we all need, but girls in that particular instance need, that can help them regain their own confidence, their self-esteem, and honestly, the love within themselves. We support girls that are between the ages of 11 to 18, so that really critical teenage period where you're trying to figure out everything, but you don't have enough information and sometimes support to do so. We provide daily education for every single girl, so they get their daily education just like they would in any other Orange County public school, while we also provide very intensive and supportive mental health services. Everything from direct crisis management to emergency food and hygiene product delivery to even individual group and family therapies. And so we really try to wrap as much around the girl as we can while we're also supporting her family at the same time.
It's amazing to me. I toured the facility, obviously, a while back. And when you go in, there's a sense, I know it's not like this 24/7, but my sense that I got was it's a sense where where the girls feel safe, where they feel like somebody actually cares about them. And for a lot of them, that's a first time for both of those things, where they're feeling like they're cared about and that they're safe. And so it's just, you could feel the energy in there and the love. And I watched the staff interact and I watched the girls interact, and it was just a place where you felt like you could actually grow and you could see them responding to it.
That's the amazing part. That's the amazing part when you see a girl who starts at the center and demeanor and the way they interact, and then see them 6 months, 3 months, a year later, and it's night and day. I mean, I've come up, shake your hand, tell you they're going to be president someday. And that makes anything we do for them worth it.
And that's the thing that I love back when we used to have ask lunches, was of course I always cried. I mean, isn't that the whole point of an ask lunch? If you're not crying, you're just not in the right place. I mean, it was just the impact, the stories that not only the girls, but their families shared, just really overwhelming in that sense of, again, I'm accomplishing something. I'm moving forward. I don't feel as stuck as I felt, or as not listened to as I felt before. So tell me how a girl comes to PACE. How does a girl come to PACE and become part of PACE?
So we have several different referral sources and really recruiting sources in our community. And we're grateful for the partnerships that we have with the Department of Juvenile Justice and Orange County Public Schools. But lately, especially during this time of the pandemic, right, we have actually seen referral sources coming in from mental health agencies, churches, probation officers, families, community centers. We've even just received referrals right off of Facebook. People have seen what we're doing on Facebook, and they have messaged us and said, hey, I think you can help my daughter. My daughter needs help. And those are the ways that a young lady joins. And what really, I think, also causes us to be a little bit different and really special is that a young lady, they can't be assigned to PACE, right? I think sometimes people think, people may say, oh, after this happens, oh, you're going to PACE. No. That's not what we do. A young lady has to make a decision to come to PACE, and then she's selected. Why is that so important? It's the first time, again, back to your point, Ted, first time for a lot of young ladies to be able to feel like they're a part of something special when they have to make that decision to come. But then also we're saying, yes, we are selecting you because we believe in you. We believe in the dream that you had. We don't believe what's here on paper. We know that that may have been something that occurred, but this paper isn't who you are. We believe in who you are. And that's why we're bringing you into our sisterhood and why we're bringing you into our center. And that alone changes the way that a girl sees the center. And then it begins to change the way that she sees her time when she's with us. And so, you know, you were also talking, Ted, about just stories. And when we really honestly think about the pandemic, and I will do my best to stay off of my soapbox here. But
you can get right on it if you want. I'm okay with that.
Yeah, because you know, I think about all of these types of things, and really, in all honesty, you know, our children, and I'm sure Sarah can attest to this as well, being a parent, our children weren't given, none of us were given notice, but particularly kids weren't given any notice. It was, this is what's happening to you, and this is what you have to do, right? And for a lot of our girls, the idea of being safer at home, unfortunately, was not the case. And where we began to really see what PACE is and what we do and why it's so important, I'll tell you, Ted, it was really through this pandemic. When we began to receive those calls from girls and parents, not just needing crisis things, right? Not just needing food. And we're grateful for our community partners to be able to support with that. But when a young lady could literally get on the phone at 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock in the morning, 11 o'clock at night, and know that their counselor was going to be there for them to answer the phone, that's when the beauty and magic of PACE really, I think, hit home for all of us. And watching our team, you know, in the height of this pandemic. So we're talking about end of March, early April, Ted, where a lot of us had no idea what was getting ready to happen. My team was calling me saying, we have to go see the girls. And they went out on their own. They were not required. They were not asked to do it. They came and said, I have to go see my girls. I have to go make sure that they are okay. They made sure that we didn't lose our girls. And that is not something that a lot of districts, and this is not to put down the districts, so this is where my soapbox happens. This is not to put down any school districts. But, you know, across the country, there's data that's showing that large school districts have lost anywhere to 30% of their students. That means they cannot find them. They have since March. So 6 months, they still can't find or connect with these kids. We can say thankfully and gratefully that we were able to stay in touch with over 90%, and in many instances, 100% of our girls throughout this pandemic. We didn't lose one. We were able to stay in touch with them. We were able to see them. We were able to physically get them what they needed. That is the power of PACE. And I think when, you know, I think about my time as a young person, boy, do I wish there was a place like PACE available for me. You know, no, there wasn't a pandemic. I just, you know, wanted to have too many boyfriends probably at one time. But, you know what I mean? There was no pandemic happening. It was a pandemic for me then, but you know, there was nothing real earth-shattering, you know, world-changing happening. But we all still need that support. And so I'm just grateful for our team for really bringing that mission to life and hearing the girls and their parents legitimately say thank you. It is literally, it honestly has to be one of the most rewarding positions I've ever had in my career.
And it's such a testament. The continuity and the consistency is so important. So when the world shut down, the fact that you all continued to reach out, you showed them that they still mattered to you, that the world ended or felt like it was ending, but they could still count on you. And for them, that just helped, in my opinion, add the foundation of what you guys added to the foundation of what you were already building and had already built with them. Look, they really mean it. Even during these crazy times, they are still trying to be there for me. They care about me. And I believe that was critical. I also want to say, I think it's so important what you mentioned earlier, that this wasn't a punitive. It's not punitive to go to PACE. And so when you're setting it up and they don't view it as a punishment, they view it as a choice on both of your sides, that sets up the whole mentality of, wow, this is a good place for me to be. They want me and I want them. And I just think that's so critical how you guys have set that up. Sarah, what's it done for you? I mean, I'm just curious. I know I've served on boards. I've done charity work always when I'm working in the community. It always does something for me. It feeds me.
So, my background, I grew up, my mom worked for DCF for 30 years. She worked in just about every capacity, whether it was from foster care to protective investigations to policy to domestic violence. So causes along those lines have always been near and dear to my heart. But programs like PACE, because most of my childhood was spent with a mother who was at that time an investigator, I saw kids from all walks of life. It was not impoverished children. It was not disadvantaged children that had things happen to them, traumatic events that changed them. It could be the girl next door. It could be the richest person that you know. Trauma changes how you react to things, how you perform at school, especially girls. Girls are naturally, probably more emotional. I would just go tell my husband I went ahead and said it. But especially those critical teen years, you're forming your impression of your self-worth. And if nobody is showing you that you matter, you begin to think you don't matter. And that is, such a testament to Rosene and the entire team. These girls always matter. We have an amazing board, and our board seems to be getting better and better. And we'll talk more about that later, Ted. But we, it drives us to want to do more because the resources, we are truly a fundraising board and an outreach board. And there is, even when I joined the board, I had people ask, well, isn't that the school for bad girls? Yeah. And it's like, no, you know what? We need to change. It is the board's responsibility to change the perception of what we do and to fund and the resources that allow the programs to continue. Because if we can get adequately fed, the center doesn't have to be the only place that those programs happen. Adequate funding can get the PACE programming into schools that might not necessarily, the girls can't come to the center, but they still need the resources. And when food is needed, when school supplies are needed. During the pandemic, we had computers donated. We've had transportation vans donated. We've had people, there is a whole, one of my favorite things, a whole boutique inside the center that where, beautiful things that the girls as an incentive can go shop. So they can get what they want. They get to choose it. There's a classroom that is with the Spirit of Girls class that literally it's couches and string lights where they're just learning how to be safe and girls and talk about what they want to talk about and develop all those skills that I'm fortunate enough to have, that was instilled in me. I had stuff. Everybody had stuff, but I had a mom that kept me very, very much in line most of the time. But it's, I am who I am because I had strong women and good influences around me that allowed me to be confident, to stumble, fall, get up, and not worry about it. And we provide that same to those girls. So every time I'm promoting it on Facebook or talking about it, or asking for money or asking for involvement or asking for any of those things, it's not just because I'm a pain in the butt, which I am, but it's because it's going to something super amazing and useful, and it's going to change a life. The 50 girls that are in that center at any time, we are changing their life. We are changing the trajectory of where they're going to go. I've seen them go from saying, I have no idea what I want to be or what I want to do, to literally, I want to be president, or I'm going to go do this. You watch them graduate. You watch them have jobs. Some of these girls are taking care of their families. They are teenage girls taking care of an entire family. And so when something like a pandemic hits, they lose the focus, they're losing the focus, whether it's on their education or people say they're so behind. Well, they're not behind because they're not smart. They're not behind because they're not driven. They're behind because situations have presented themselves where their needs came in second, third, fourth, and fifth to everybody else. Yep. We can provide resources to them so they can focus on themselves.
So I want to talk, I agree. Everything you're saying, I was flashing back to some of the stories that I remember, or some of the people. It wasn't the story specifically, but the emotion and the fact that they just felt so empowered. Most of them for the very first time ever when they were sharing their stories. So let's talk about fundraising, because I love this topic, and a lot of people like to shy away from it, but I don't. What can we do? What's going on? What can we do to help PACE? How can we help? How can we embrace PACE and the girls in our community?
So I'll chime in, and then Sarah, please do. I would like to share a story, and then Sarah, if you wouldn't mind sharing about our upcoming events. And so, because I think sometimes it's easy to overthink what we can do. And so I just want to quickly share a story of how a person heard something very similar to what we were talking about and picked up a need from what was mentioned. And so Sarah was talking a lot about someone that donated technology. And so what we found out during this pandemic really quickly, Ted, was that we had about 50% of our girls that didn't have any access to technology in their home. So how in the world were they going to do remote learning if they had no internet? So our incredible board started reaching out and were able to basically land us a story on similar to this on media. We were able to land a media story. Someone heard that and basically said, how in the world in 2020 do we have kids in Orlando, Florida that don't have internet? And so long story short, sent an email out, and this person ended up donating over $15,000 at one time. Later on, their gift now is well over $60,000 toward the center that has supported computers, a new van, transportation for the girls. But let me tell you why this matters, right? It sounded really small about having a computer. What ended up happening is that we had girls that were slated to graduate this year. And when we went remote, they were very concerned that they wouldn't be able to graduate because they didn't have the tools. Not only did they not have the tools, they did not think that they could do virtual learning. Fast forward to June of 2020, these girls not only were able to graduate, they were able to graduate at even higher grades than they anticipated because they had the tools. One of them has already started her own business. The other is already working and getting ready to go into the Army. What they wore for their graduation day pictures that one of our board members actually sponsored for them because our girls didn't have access to senior pictures. What they wore came from the boutique that Sarah was talking about. One woman and her daughter, a mother and daughter entrepreneur team here, Station Ariana Pierce, donated to that boutique. So the things that these girls get came from that boutique. So they were able to dress up and to complete their graduation. All of that connected now back to this generational story of these girls being the first girls in their families to graduate from high school. So that gift of a computer was so much more than just a computer. That gift of a dress was so much more than a gift of a dress. That actually connected to a generational change that can never be taken away from these girls. So when people are giving to us, and we appreciate every single gift, every gift matters. But when they're giving, it's really important for them to connect the idea that they really, truly are giving into an impact that they might see now, but will have an even greater harvest later. And so we have a couple of events that are getting ready to come up that we're excited our board is leading the charge on. Sarah?
So the first thing that we have coming up is we are going to do, because everything's changed a little bit this year, we're doing a virtual girls' night in October, on October 22nd. It's going to kind of be like a big pajama party. We're going to have mixology. We're going to have, Rosene said we're going to have Zumba. I'm not doing Zumba. Yeah. I'm going to have all the mixology or all the Zumba. That's the only way that's going to happen. And it's going to be, this is actually going to be a free event, but there's opportunities to learn more about what we do and to give throughout the program. We'll have some raffles, hopefully some auction items. And, obviously wouldn't be us if we didn't ask you for money during it. So, it's learn more about the center. And then one of our amazing board members, Shirlette McCullough, is on the board at the Citrus Club. And she had nominated us to be one of the beneficiaries of the Charity Classic this year, which is November 13th. So we are extremely honored to be one of the two beneficiaries this year. And that is a ticketed event. I think it's it's a real
event that is amazing. I'm super excited.
It's like a culinary theme, but you say food to me, I'm in. So we're looking very forward to promoting and driving that. And then, we'll have some events in the spring. But, I donate my birthday every year to Pace on Facebook. I always, if you're not sure you want to give, I tell people, come talk to me. Let me take you on a tour. Let me introduce you to the center and really see what we do. I have not done one of those tours where at least 2/3 of the people that I take in are like, wow, I'm, forever changed by that experience, and they get involved, whether it's as simple as donating to the boutique, donating school supplies when they need it, or food at the holidays, or any of those things. There's a ton of ways to get involved, and we all can make a difference.
That's the thing. I think I'm so glad that you both have brought this up, because I think people think, well, maybe I'm furloughed, I'm just now getting back in. Guys, it can also be supplies. It can be your resources. Remember, you also have resources. So
too. If you know somebody that you think we should know, let me, introduce us, connect us. And that's how it happens. I mean, that's how the media stories and all of those things, somebody sees it, takes off. Hey, watch this, see these people. All of that matters.
And even sharing this show, like if you're watching, you go, all right, well, I've got some people I'd like to take a look at it. Listen, everything that you do moves a step forward. So you just never know what the connections are going to be and who's going to come through with the next round of whatever it is that the girls need or the center needs. But those two events are awesome. I know the charity one personally because I've been to it every year and been part of it. And so I'm so excited that Pace is part of it. All right. What do people do? How do they reach you? Is pacecenter.org the best way?
Yes, they can reach us at pacecenter.org, or they can contact us via our Facebook page, which is Pace Center for Girls Orange, because we're here in Orange County, or our Instagram page, which is Pace Center Orange. They can reach us. And, as you're watching this show, of course, there are people that, you can think of that would love to get connected. Please think of someone that you may know that may have a young lady that could use our support. There are parents out there that really are in need, and there are girls out there that are in need, and sometimes they don't even know that a solution is around the corner from them. And so we want to help as many young ladies and parents as possible, and that's what we're all about, finding the great in every girl. So you can help us find that next great girl. If you know of anyone that could really benefit, we are happy to talk with them at any time.
Y'all are so good at this. Sometimes it's like pulling teeth, and I'm like, you got to talk about your organization. I didn't have to say hardly anything. So
listen, I could be here for 2 hours, Ted. So you
got 2 talkers today.
Exactly.
But that's so good. I even got choked up when you were talking, Rosene, about earlier, and I'm like, see, this is why these things are so important. The impact that you make, you just can see it firsthand. And I think Sarah said it. You're changing the trajectory of these girls' lives and their families' lives. Like, it's impacting the whole community, that footprint that we're leaving. It's a ripple effect. And it's just amazing what Pace does. All right. So pacecenter.org. Did I miss anything?
Just again, thank you. Thank you for being such a believer in our girls, Ted. We really appreciate you.
I love Pace. I'm very, very excited for all of the stuff that you guys are doing.
Yeah.
All right, Sarah Geltz, Rosene Johnson, pacecenter.org. You guys get involved. Reach out to them. Reach out to me, and I'll put you in touch with them. We make it easy here. So thank you both for all the hard work you do, and all of your team, Rosene, and, of course, all the girls.
Yes.
So thank you. All right. We'll talk to you guys soon. Thank you. Have a good one.
Bye-bye.